Hi guys, it's Real Talk with Tracy, and it's late. My husband's sleeping, but I'm awake. So I decided to reach out and make another video about narcissistic people. Oh my God. There's been so many narcissistic friends. When I go like this and I say friends, they're not really friends. You may put 100% effort, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be your friend, no matter what you do. And I have many examples of this. There were a couple that my husband and I met when we were living in a different area. We owned a townhouse, and they were in the community, and we met them walking the dogs, started chatting, and they just seemed like a really nice couple. They didn't have kids yet. We didn't have kids. They wanted to get together. I thought that was really nice. And she was more kind of cold. She didn't like to hug. Like, I'm a hugger. Like, she didn't like that. And so I understood that boundary. I thought it was sad that she didn't like that, but she started telling me how growing up, she had all these problems with her mother, as I did. But the way she turned out, she didn't want to be touched. She didn't want to be hugged. He was really, really funny and really enjoyable to be around because we would just laugh. And my husband liked being around him. So when the four of us would get together, we would always be cracking up because her husband was so funny. But I remember her saying things very gossipy and talking about like other couples. And I remember her saying things like, we've been double dating with this other couple, and, we ran into them and we didn't want to talk to them because we decided, this attitude that we just don't want to double date with them anymore. And so we blew them off. And I thought to myself, wow, I would never say that or do that or brag about that to anybody. And this was many years ago, so I didn't know what I know now. Big red flag. But I kind of just let it go. And she would periodically say things about other people, and I would kind of let it go because going out double dating, he was so funny, and it was an enjoyable evening. But she had a lot of hang-ups, and she was very, I want to say, like, she would never, ever, ever shop like at Target or Walmart or anything like that. Everything had to be designer labels. Everything had to be the most expensive. Everything had to be how things look, because that's what a lot of insecure people do. And there's a lot of insecure narcissists, and that's what they do. They have that need more so than I think regular people to get all the designer names. So, oh yeah, Louis Vuitton and Gucci. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. If you can afford that and you like it, more power to you. But that doesn't make who you are. Who you are is in here. Just because you're carrying a bag that's $2 or $3 or $4 or $500 or $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000, that doesn't make you any better in here. It may make you feel like you're better, but not really. How you treat people and your kindness and your love and your empathy and being there for people and being a loving human being, that's what makes you a good person. Not carrying an expensive bag that you want to push in everyone's face. Like, I could have this, but obviously I'm doing so much better than you. You can't have one of these. That's kind of like the attitude that some people have. And I think that's really sad. So, for whatever reason, after knowing them for years, one day I called and she didn't return my call. And there was no arguments. There was no anything. There was nothing. And then we ran into her husband and he said, wow, I really miss you guys. We should double date again. And I said, your wife's not returning my phone calls. And I'm finding that to be very hurtful because I thought we were growing our friendship. And obviously she just doesn't care. And I remember, I think at that time I was going through a lot of pain with my herniated discs. And there was no empathy. There was no love there. There was no, I'll bring you chicken soup. Like a good friend would be like, what do you need? I'll come over. Let me drop something over. What do you need? I'll be there. What can I do for you? That's what a good friend does. But it was like, I feel like we were just kind of pushed aside. And I don't know if me going through that period had anything to do with it. But she just blew me off like she did these other couples that she would talk about. And it was really hurtful. And then we would run into them and they wouldn't acknowledge us. Like they would pretend they didn't see us. Like we'd go to Home Depot, they would see us, but then walk down a different aisle. And I said to my husband, what the F is wrong with them? That we had gotten together with them, I want to say over the years, 40 or 50 times, and just left, had great dinners, never had an argument. The last thing I remember when I saw her, we were going with her kids and playing miniature golf. And I said that I want to make more of an effort to be a better friend. That like when the kids' birthdays are, I want to make sure that, I buy them a gift and that I'm, there, kind of like part of the family because they didn't have any family here, which really bothered her. They were from Chicago. And shortly after that, it was just so weird. And I've run into her now like 4 or 5 times. And as a human being, I want to say hi. Like if you're sick of me or you don't want to be my friend anymore for whatever reason, because you're an ultimate narcissist and I was your cat toy and I'm no longer your cat toy anymore for whatever reason, that's fine. It doesn't mean you have to be an asshole. It doesn't mean you have to walk by like you don't know who I am. It doesn't mean you have to like shun me. It just blows my mind. I know that she was a very insecure person and there was nothing ever said or done for either one of them to treat us like that. So that was one situation. I had another situation where I have a women's group and I met this woman who was getting through having colon cancer. And when I met her, she had that portal like in her chest where they would do the chemo. And she said that she was so happy she met me and that she was part of the group and this was going to be her healing, to be able to make new friends because her friends that she had were really sick of hearing about her cancer. And she just wanted to meet new friends that didn't really know her background or judge her or anything like that, that just really wanted to be friends with her. And she love bombed me. She just became a very fast friend. And I almost felt like I was a whale going through the ocean, and she was like a barnacle, and she stuck herself to me, and she wanted to be around me and do things with me much more than any of her other friends. And she would say things like, I've been looking for you my entire life. My entire life, I've been looking to meet someone that I feel so much love for and from and so connected to. And I'm so thankful that you're in my life and you're really helping me to heal and to get healthy. And I'm so lucky that I found you. You're so special. And, hearing all these things really blew me away. It really filled up my heart and wanted me to do even more for her, because she was acknowledging who I was. And I really felt like she saw me. And I felt like there was nobody else, because she really didn't talk about anybody else. She wanted to have lunch with me. She wanted to go, do yoga with me. So we joined a yoga studio together. She confided in me about everything that was going wrong with the colon cancer and with her marriage, and invited me over her house. And they were short on money, so soon I found myself buying her groceries. And her husband was bringing home like bags of chocolate, things that weren't good for her. And I felt like she was like an injured little bird, and like it was my mission to take care of her. And then I started feeling like she was getting kind of more demanding. She wanted me to start cleaning her house for her. So at this point, I'm already seeing her a whole lot. And she's throwing all these comments, like compliments, my way, and telling me all their problems and financially how they're suffering. So when she and I go out to eat, I started paying for all of our lunches, because I feel it's the least I could do for somebody. And then her cancer came back. And we're walking, the four of us, one night to go to a restaurant, and she's cold, and I'm taking off my coat, and I'm putting my coat on her, because I'm trying to take care of her. And I feel like that's my role with a lot of people, to make them better. I don't know if you can relate to this, but when you're an empath and you get in these narcissistic relationships, for some reason, maybe it was because I had to be my mother's mother, because she was an alcoholic and was doing stupid things. And so at 12 years old, I'm like, what time are you coming home? Where are you going? Is there a phone number? Can I have the address? I was the mother, and I became the mother early on. So, never had kids, never became anybody's mother for real, but I feel like I've mothered a lot of my friends, and I've been pulled into people that are needy and narcissistic in different ways. So when she started putting pressure on me to clean her house, I just said to her, listen, I love you. By this point, I've known her for a couple years. You're a good friend, and I really care about you. but I don't even like cleaning my own house, and you have a husband and he's working full time. He's bringing home bags of candy. I'm sure that he could come up with $60 and you can find someone to clean your house. And she was extremely disappointed that I wouldn't do that. So as she was getting sicker and sicker, there was a tea and at a restaurant, and she wanted me to come, but she didn't want to drive with any of her friends. Her friends that she had had for 20 years and 30 years. She wanted to drive with me, which I thought was kind of weird because she had longtime friends. And from the way she was acting, she was taking up so much time in my life. I was thinking that I was her only friend. But when I got there, I met all of these other people that were her friends, and they were really taken back that she was so attached to it just being her and me. It was a really weird situation. And she would say sometimes, all we talk about is my cancer, and I'm tired of being selfish. I want to hear about what you're going through. So I remember talking to her a little bit about what I was going through with my narcissistic uncle. And shortly after that, and saying I didn't want to clean her house, she had sent me a text. And this is after she made me in charge of her eating calendar. So she wanted me to be in charge of this calendar where I would reach out to everybody and each person would find out who was cooking her dinner for that particular night because she was going through chemotherapy again. And she wanted me to be in charge, not anybody else but me. So I told her I would do that for her. I was going to some appointments with her. I wound up, because she had a hard time expressing herself for some reason, I went to the doctor's office and I got her a nurse to come to her house a couple times a week to check on her. I really did a lot, and my days were starting to get really filled up with her. And I really liked her. I think I loved her. And I remember meeting her and thinking, here's another one that's going to rip out my heart. But I knew how needy she was and what a bad situation she had also with her mother, how her mother had died, and she didn't have strong women in her life that she really needed to be her engine and push her through what she had to go through. So I was there to a point. I wouldn't clean her house. So I got a text from her, and it was basically, you've been like amazing person in my life. You've been loving and caring, and you've done nothing but care about me, and you've been by my side. And you've been a strong force and presence in my life that I've needed. And I want to thank you for being there for me. But now, as I get sicker and need more care and more from friends, I want to make my friendship circle smaller. And I don't feel like you're a fit for me anymore. What do I do with that? Because I don't want to clean your house? Because sometimes I have to say no? So she pushed me out. So it was like a little bird that has a broken wing, and you take them off your patio and you nourish them as much as you can back to health. And then, they choose to go with, I don't know, these other people to help them for whatever reason. I had friends before I got married, narcissistic friends that were very judgy because I was dating a Hispanic guy. I remember one of my Jewish friends was disappointed in me because she felt like I was dating beneath me because the person I was dating wasn't Jewish, which is ludicrous, and because he wasn't successful enough. She said she expected that I should be dating a doctor or a lawyer, and she would be rude to him on the phone when we started living together. She would just say, "Is Tracy there?" Wouldn't say, "Hi, Jay. How are you? What are you doing?" And he said to me, I don't want to talk to this rude person. I know that she doesn't approve of me. And I went back and said to her, I can't be with someone who treats someone else that I love, that I live with, that I'm probably going to marry in this dismissive way. So it's funny because she was kind of prejudiced, right? Or racist, whatever you want to call it. She wound up dating this very, very, very black man, like black. And they got married. They got married and had a beautiful child. And she would call me and say things like, "Oh, we're going to have a barbecue at our house. And we're picking up lobsters and steak. It's going to be wonderful. We're having over 6 to 8 couples." And then I'd say to her, "So you're telling me this because you want us to come?" And she said, "Oh, no. It's only his friends." He was a policeman. "It's only his friends. You're not invited." But she would want me to know that she was doing all these great things and that I was not invited. She was very competitive with me. And she said that if she was ever mad at somebody, they would know it because for Christmas, she would give them like a pair of socks. It's so funny. It's so funny now that I look back at this. It's very abusive, isn't it? So one year we exchanged presents and I got her some beautiful top or something. And I open up this little thing and it's a pair of socks. It's a pair of socks. Okay. I had gotten her to get an attorney to sue her father because her mother had died and killed herself when she was young. And her father was just going to sell the house and leave her. And just leave her without money, without anything. And I said, "You need to protect yourself." And I pushed her to get an attorney and to get part of this estate. Not because I wanted anything, but because she was being screwed over by her alcoholic father. And when she got the money, I remember she called me and said, "Hope you're not going to be jealous of me now because I got this, and this. And the first thing I'm going to do is go to Europe. And you could go with me, but probably you can't afford it. So, oh well, you're not going to get to go with me." And her narcissism really was in full bloom then. It was really sad. I remember another time she got everybody at the salon that she worked with a box of Bic plastic pens. Like, how much can you insult somebody to give them a box of Bic plastic pens? That's just very low. So there's been many instances that I've seen this narcissism in friends, another friend, and I love, she's a current friend. I love her. But anytime I tell her anything, you can suffer in pain, and she will say, but your pain is nothing, because my pain is like, and your pain's only. So whatever you're going through, you can never share with her because she will always top it. Instead of just saying, oh my God, I am so sorry you're going through this. Is there something I can do for you? No. I have bursitis in my hips. I had to get cortisone shots. Well, of course you did, is what she said. Of course you did. You're getting older. And I've gotten way more shots than you. I have. My hip, my back, my shoulder, my arm, my leg, my this, my that. So a lot of times, guys, when we see these people in our life, you have two choices, pretty much. Three choices. You have three choices, okay? You can keep them in your life and let them stab at your heart to where you're so frustrated and so angry and so resentful. And you can stay there and want them to change and push them to change and expect them to change. And you could jump up and down like a Mexican jumping bean. And no matter how good you think you are, no matter how wonderful you think you are, no matter how supportive you think you are, you will still be the one that gets shit on. I promise you. And then, besides the red flag, the light will go on. Boom. And you will say, there's no winning. There's no winning in this situation. And if it's that painful, you will need to walk away to save yourself from heartache. Nobody deserves to be crapped on. Nobody deserves to not have acknowledgement on what they're going through. It's not a contest. Life isn't a contest. If you go to someone and tell them, my dog, I'm so worried about my dog. I think my dog is dying. And they turn around, the narcissist, they'll either change the subject, like they don't hear you, or they'll say something dismissive like, he's 16. You gave him a good life. You'll get another one. Or they'll be like, well, I'm so much older than you. I've had many dogs that have died. And that's just how it goes. And it just really blows my mind. But what you need to do is you need to hone in on who are you going to try to find support? Who are you going to in your life that you want them to see you? If you're going to someone narcissistic and you keep getting slapped verbally in the face, why? Why do you keep going back? Why do you keep hoping it's going to change? Why do you keep dealing with the abuse, the comments, the jabs? Why? Why? All you have to do is you don't have to make any grand, I was going to say entrance. You don't have to make any grand retrieval. You just get busy. You're just too busy. And you just kind of choke that umbilical cord that you've been attached to, thinking that you're going to get some lifeblood coming through it. And all you get is lemonade or like really bad coffee, or I don't know what's coming through that umbilical cord. But just cut it. Take a mental scissor with that umbilical cord you have with these stupid idiots and cut it. Cut it. And walk away. Walk away. You don't need to hear from your friend that your ass looks a little big. I heard you lost weight, but your ass, it still kind of looks big. What a freaking narcissist. Or you get something done, you're going to go get some plastic surgery or something, and it's like, well, I don't know, one eyebrow still looks off. Or, oh, you went to the hairdresser? Yeah, she kind of went too short, right? Don't have friends like that. Knock it out, knock it off, knock it off, knock it off. Go to meetup.com and find a good meetup group. Find a good group, whether it's someone you're dating or whether it's the same sex or whoever it is. Find people that are kind. Find people when you bump your toe that offer you a Band-Aid, that offer you a chair, that sit down next to you and hold your hand and ask, can I fix it? Can I put a Band-Aid on your toe? Do you want to go out for an ice cream? Don't be putting up with those people that say, oh, I slammed my toe last night. You're a baby. What's the big deal? Get over it. Buck up. So, anyway, I've been trying to be quiet because my hubby's sleeping down the way. But I hope this shined some light on narcissistic friendships. I still have a few narcissists, but I see them seldomly. My expectations are zero now. Literally zero. And if we can meet and have dinner or, double date or something, go out dancing or whatever it is, I just enjoy them for that moment. If they're enjoyable. If they're not enjoyable, why even go for that moment? But I just want to tell you, these people lurk around. I've had people like this I worked with. I had a lady who I used to work with whose mother died. And she had texted me or called me and said, I guess it was a text, I'm having a really hard time since my mother died. And I said, I'm here for you. If you want to talk to me, you can call me anytime, day or night. I love you. You're going to be okay. And her response to me, ready? Are you sitting on the edge of your chair? Was, I don't need to talk to you about this because I'm not a weak person like you are. I'm much stronger than you, and I can get through this without a conversation with you because I am, whatever her name was. And I thought, wow, that's pathetic. That's really pathetic. When you try to kiss someone on the cheek and they spit in your face. And then they wonder, why aren't you taking my calls anymore? It's me. Grandiose, incredible, me. And you're not taking my calls. That's weird. I'm so wonderful. But you know what? They're only wonderful in their mind. I've pointed out to her a few times how she craps on people. And she will laugh. Well, you know what my sense of humor's like. Yeah, you like to belittle people, and I'm not going to be one of your play toys. I'm done. Wish you the best, but you're not stepping on me anymore. I am done. Wish you the best. And she still will try about every 4 or 5 months. I'll get a text. She still tries to wiggle her way back in. And I'm just over it. I don't see any reason at all to engage. And so I don't. I put myself first. You know why? Because my husband tells me I'm a smarty pants. I put my own heart first now, and so should you. If you want to leave any comments below, please feel free. I do a lot of podcasts about this besides YouTube videos, and I love writing back to people. I find that I'm healing through listening to other people that do YouTube videos like Andrew, and there's a bunch more that have helped me to stay strong. So anyway, wishing you guys a beautiful night, wishing and praying for peace on our earth, as always. Have a nice night. Thank you for letting me share with you. Bye, guys. Please subscribe.